Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear viewers, we welcome you back to your program The Reminder with me, GAZALI KAMBI. This is a weekly program that comes to you, that comes on your way every Friday 17:05. And again, we welcome you with a scintillating topic as always, the case, but we always want to remind you of the fact that this is the reminder. And whatever we are to tell you is something that you know of, is something that we just want to remind ourselves, because as we always say, a human being is created in such a way that he forgets always. He always forgets. So he needs a guidance. He needs somebody to be talking to him always. He needs somebody to remind him. A lot of things are supposed to be done by one person, one human being. So if you are not reminded of them time and again, it is natural that you forget. So today our topic would be one interesting one, and argumentatively a very spread topic, the importance of women in our society. What are the roles of women? What are they crucial in our lives? Of course, every conscious human being that you talk to, they will tell you, yes, women are indescribably important in our life. Without them, in fact, we will not all be here. So the argument would arise. Usually a lot of fingers will point to Islam, that women are disregarded in Islam, women are this in Islam. But in fact, the points that we have here contradict most of those points. The points that we have here tell us that Islam is one of the religions that have really raised the status of women beyond imagination, that has really respected women. So first, we want to look at the pre-Islamic era. Let us look at how women, what they were undergoing before the coming of Islam. In fact, when the gamblers were gambling, at some point they would stake women instead of money. You know, nowadays when people are gambling, they will stake money. I have $5,000, you have $5,000, let's play. If I win, I take yours. If you win, you take mine. But before, if somebody was short of money, what they would do, they would tell the other person, okay, if you win, you take my woman. If I win, I take your woman. Or if you win, you take my daughter. If I win, I take yours. So what this really means is women's opinions were not of importance when it comes to, in fact, marriage, or when it comes to who they want to get married to, because I just have to win you in gambling, and then I take your woman, your wife, or your daughter. And also they were inherited. If I die, maybe I have some dealings, some business dealings with one of my friends, and I could not pay them, I would write to them that, okay, if I die, you can take my daughter. If I die, you can take my wife. So my wife's opinion, or my wife's interest, my daughter's interest of getting married to this particular individual would not be of importance. That is just the deal that they would have to undergo. So this is not all. In fact, women or girl children were buried alive if they were born. People really feel very inferior for them to be informed that their wives have given birth to a girl child. They felt very angry, they were annoyed, and their facial looks, in fact, would tell it all. They cannot even hide their faces. If you see them, you know this person is not happy at all. When their women or when their wives give birth to a girl, and this would result to them burying those girl children, or in fact killing them or suffocating them to death because they were angry. So in fact, the Quran made mention of this in chapter 81 of the Quran, verse 8. وَإِذَا الْمَعُودَةِ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيْ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. When the girl child who was buried alive would be questioned for what sin she has been buried alive. So when Islam came, when the Prophet of Islam came, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he came, he really saved women of most of the troubles. He showed the world how women are equal to men spiritually. You know, a lot of people would point fingers to this point. They would say, okay, Islam has brought segregation between men and women, saying men overpower women, men are really better than women. Islam has never said this. This is a misconception. Spiritually, both men and women are equal. The way men worship the Almighty, their Lord, that is the same way that women should do. The way men fast, that is how women fast. The way they pray, you have to pray that way. They worship, you worship. That is it. There's no difference. But you and I would also know that when you look at the physicality, the physiques of men and women, there will be much of a difference. Nobody needs to tell you that. We all know we are different. So I want to ask you, the world is really engrossed. They are really concentrating on this fact that, okay, men and women are different in Islam. I want to ask you, why do we not have Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo in the same pitch with some women playing against each other? That never happens because we see some difference between them. Why do we not have Usain Bolt in the same lane with some women competing? We differentiate them. Why do we have on our toilets descriptions, on our public toilets? We have descriptions. This is for females and this is for male. Why do we have such? Because in ourselves, within ourselves, in our minds, there exists a difference between them. We know that these people, these different people, are not the same at all. They are different. Because if they are not different, we are going to have the same toilet for men and women. So naturally, if you do not want to argue with your own intellect, if you are logically there, you are logically very correct, you would know that naturally men and women are very different. You know, women also have their rights just like men have right. Everybody, as a human being, you have the right. The Almighty, the Creator, the one that has created all of us, is very fair. In fact, He is more than fair because it was He who created being fairness. So He is more than that. So you know, one of the most misconstrued verses of the Quran would be the verse of Surah Nisa chapter 4 verse 34. Ar-rijalu qawwamuna 'ala an-nisa. This verse has been deeply misconstrued, misunderstood by several people, even by some Muslims, because people would translate this to mean men are better than women. That is not the meaning. That is never the meaning. It means men are the people that are responsible of feeding, of clothing, of how they spend. Their physicality and that of the females are different. So they are the ones who are supposed to spend on their females. That is why when we come to the inheritance, Surah An-Nisa, inheritance has been deeply discussed there. When you come to inheritance, you would understand that there has been another misunderstanding. A lot of people would say, no, you know, in Islam, women get half of what the man gets. So this is unfair. This is visually, this is very unfair. So we tell them, okay, you have not looked at the intellectual perspective of what has been dealt with here. When you look at that inheritance, yes, it is true that women have half of what the men has when it comes to inheritance. If I were to be of the same father and the same mother with, maybe let's say I have a sister and my father passes away, what is going to happen when it comes to inheritance? If I have $100,000, my sister is going to have $50,000. This is what Islam says. Okay, but we tell them, now we are going to base our judgments based on Islam and Islam alone, because you point your finger to Islam saying it is unfair. It has given more to a man than it has given to a woman. So we want to tell you, okay, no problem. Now this judgment is based on Islam and Islam alone. Islam says I should have $100,000 and my sister should have $50,000. Now the Creator being very fair, what is this? What has this to do with justice? What has this to do with fairness? Islam also, let's go back a bit and talk about what Islam says about how a woman should be taken care of by a man. Islam tells us that a woman should be taken care of by a closest male relative. Any man that is closest to the woman should take care of that woman. Maybe that will be a father, or that will be a brother, or that will be a husband. In fact, it all begins with a father. Your father should take care of you. Your father should be able to feed and clothe you and provide your needs. If your father passes away now, we are talking about your brother. Your brother is your closest male relative. So your brother should take care of you, should ensure that you are clothed, should ensure that you are fed, should ensure that your needs are really provided. If your brother is not around, then it is your husband if you are married. If it is your husband who should ensure that you are taken care of properly. If you don't have a husband, you don't have a father, you don't have a brother, it is the community that should take care of you. This is the verdict of Islam. So if your father fails to take care of you, if your brother fails to take care of you, if your husband fails to take care of you, or you don't have any of these, and the community also fails to take care of you, you don't blame Islam for that. You blame the people that fall short of this, because that is what Islam has said. So if those people did not do that, then you don't blame Islam for that. How do you blame Islam? The imam of that community should ensure that this female, that this woman is taken care of properly, her needs are given. How? She is clothed, she is fed, she is really provided with her needs. There is also a difference between need and wants. I think we know that what you need or what you want might not be what you need. But what you need is definitely what you want. So that is it. So now, if this is the case, if this is the verdict of Islam, let us go back and look at the point again, inheritance. If I am the brother again, my sister has 50,000 and she can do with whatever she wants to do with that. She doesn't even have to take care of anybody. She needn't to take care of anybody, but I need to take care of her. I need to perhaps take care of my wife. I need to take care of my children. I need to take care of maybe some other person that is there. And now my 100,000 is being shared between myself and my sister, who has already amassed $50,000 for herself, and also my children, my family. So look at that. Maybe I have shared my 100,000 with 7 other people or 10 other people, whilst my sister has her 50,000 all by herself. So could you tell me who has more? Could you tell me who has more? So logically, to any intellectual individual, they would understand that females really have more than what the man has when it comes to inheritance. So we want to tell you that Islam has really ordained that people respect women. Everybody, especially Muslim. Allah has said you should respect that woman, you should respect that person that has given birth to you. You should respect them. So if you fall short, you did not do this, then how do we blame Allah for this? How do we blame Islam for this? We blame the people who have not followed the instruction of the Almighty. For example, when you look at the chapter 1 verse 1 Surah An-Nisa, this chapter really talks about women. In fact, the name is women folk, Nisa, women folk. So Allah says from the very beginning, يا أيها الذين آمنوا يا أيها الناس, oh people, اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. Oh people, he did not say oh Muslims, he said oh people, everybody inclusive. Be conscious of your Lord, who has created you from a single soul, and he has created from that soul its spouse. That means Adam. We began with that. Reminder, we began with that. Adam was the first soul that was created, and Hawa was created from Adam. That is, he created all of us from a single soul, and he has created from that soul its spouse. Be conscious of your Lord and respect the wombs that bore you. You should honor and respect that womb that bore you. Could you tell me, where are the wombs located? Have you ever heard a womb being located in the belly of a man? Anyways, this will be a wondrous thing to me. I've never heard, I've never seen. Wombs are always located in that of a woman, the person that has given birth to you. So Allah said you should respect that womb. If you respect that womb, the womb that bore you, you are respecting the woman that really gives birth to you. And also Allah tells us that women and men, or wives and their husbands, are really equal. In Surah Al-Baqarah, when you look at it, chapter 2 of the Quran, verse 187, Hunna libasul lakum wa antum libasul lahunna. They are your garments and you are their garment. So I ask this question, what is the purpose of a garment? If you ask somebody who is very smart of this question, they would give you a numerous purposes of a garment. They would list perhaps 200. But let me just give you 2 purposes of a garment. 2 important purposes of a garment. Number 1 purpose of a garment is to have an individual look very beautiful, very handsome, to beautify a person, an individual. You dress in that immaculate dress. You want everybody to say, oh, you're looking good, Ghazali, that is wonderful, you are looking very smart, you know, you're dressing fantastic, your dress is just mashallah, is good. This does not mean you have to just go to the market and spend extravagantly. That is not what we are advising, but we are telling you the purpose of a garment. And the second purpose of a garment that we are going to give you, oh, maybe that is perhaps the most important purpose of a garment, that is to cover the private part, to ensure an individual's private part is not revealed, the aura is covered properly. That is the most important purpose of a garment. I will give that to it. That is what is going to differentiate you from the other animals. They don't have those dresses. They don't have that particular ability to cover themselves in a way that we are able to do it. They just are the way they are created. That is it. They are given some covers from the very creation, but us as well, we have been granted the ability to make things that can be used to cover ourselves properly. So that is the purpose of a garment. So this verse means that husbands and wives are supposed to act in such a way that they are making each other look very beautiful, very handsome. This does not mean you go to the market and buy expensive clothes. We are not saying that. And also it means you have to cover each other's bad deeds. For example, you don't have to have something between you and your husband and you go to the town the very morning and telling your friends, this was what happens between me and my husband. You are not covering them. Then you are not acting the purpose of a garment. Whatever happens in that house behind closed doors, is supposed to be there. If it is not supposed to be given to the outsiders. So we come to also Surah Al-Ahzab, chapter 33 of the Quran, verse 33. Allah says something that really brings a lot of arguments. وَكَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ وَلَا تَبَرَّجُنَ تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْأُولَى. Stay put, stay in your houses and do not just move about, do not just be roaming, do not just be gallivanting like the ignorance of the past, like those people of the past that did not know anything. So look at Allah. Allah is trying to separate us from the people who did not know anything. He is moving us from that equation because we do not fit there. We are a totally different people from those people. So He is protecting our women, ensuring that we respect them, ensuring that their status is uplifted, and they are different from those people who did not know nothing, who did not know anything, to tell us that they are of importance. So He says they should stay in their houses, they should not just be moving about, be perambulating, be gallivanting, be moving for nothing, like the ignorance would do. So people misinterpret it. They say, okay, the Islam says women are supposed to be in their house, they should not even step outside. No, that's not what Islam says. If you must go, if you need to go outside, then you need to go. You need difference between need and want. You don't just have to be moving about, because that's what the ignorance of the past do. Whether that's what they did, whether they need to go or they do not need to go, they just are outside. Wherever they heard some program or some drummings going on, they wanted to be there. Whenever they heard about some wrestling, they want to be there. Whenever they heard about some football, they wanted to be there. But Allah says, no, you must not go unless it is required for you to go. Then you have to go with that knowledge to differentiate yourself from the ignorance of the past. So we want to stop here. Our beautiful viewers, we want to thank all of you for following Vision TV, and this is your program, The Reminder. We are always proud to be with you, and we always want to bring you necessary information that we can remind ourselves of, that we think when we are reminded of, it's going to benefit us a lot. Thank you so much for following. Please keep following Vision TV. Every Friday the reminder comes on your way, 17:05. Thank you for being there. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.